Okay, hello everybody. This regular board meeting will be recorded and uploaded to our district website. The definitive documentation and decisions of the board are documented in the meeting minutes. Any use of an electronic device such as a computer or cell phone is related to the business of the meeting. I would like to call this meeting to order at 5:31. I'd like to acknowledge that today's board meeting is being held within the traditional territory of the Daneza and Treaty 8.
Sorry, you guys. I have to step out already. I'll be back probably 20 minutes. We're not doing the elections aren't yet, are they?
Yes.
They're right away.
Now.
We're doing okay, I'll have to text you, Stephen.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any additions to the agenda? Can I please get a motion to accept the agenda? David and Madeline. Okay. And then before we begin with the election, is there any declaration of conflict of interest? So, do we have to speak to it, or do we just?
I'm in conflict because I have a daughter and a son-in-law that one is with the nurses union and one is with BCGEU, and BCPC says that's a conflict.
I'm in conflict because I have a daughter that works for Northern Health, and I also have a daughter that's on our casual list.
Who else?
Member of the BCGU. And wife with teacher.
Thank you.
Recognizing that there's other forms of conflict that we might have to declare throughout the year, depending on what's going on. And on this one, that's the conflict. Yeah.
Thank you, Helen. Okay, that time of year again, we're going to call for nominations for board chair.
I'll move this one.
This should be found in the center.
Extras. Once you've marked them, if you could just fold them in half, please. We'll collect them.
Okay, do you want to collect them and I'll hand them?
Thank you.
Fold it in half.
And actually, Angela, I'd better manage Nicole's input here.
See?
Equivalent of the Canada Post.
Nomination for board chair.
How we worked for them here.
Thank you. She's texted me too.
Okay.
It's going to be the most exciting part for Michelle. It's all good.
She much prefers to be watching to running.
Totally.
Okay, I guess, yeah.
Far less stress to be doing this than what you're doing.
No trouble talking to people.
Helen, are you gonna do the reminder of the process after this?
depends on what we've got. She's looking off of a few different things.
Don't let me.
Don't let you bulldoze. So we have one nomination as board chair, and it is Helen Gilbert. Do you accept? It's your heart.
A small gift. We have some extras. We're going through this book with our leadership group this year. So that's for the board.
Oh, that was Michael Collins that I thought at the last meeting.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, I'll just was on
He
there.
did the forward,
Forward,
yeah.
But it's nice to.
Yeah.
All right. We will, we changed up the order on the agenda a little bit. We'll do 3.0 after election. Okay, so looking now for nominations for vice chair.
Sure, because I'm in the middle here. Hockey cards. Nomination for vice chair. Here you go. I'm just waiting for the poll.
By acclamation, is she accept the nomination of Madeline Lehman as vice chair?
Yes.
Accepted. Yay! Right. I did send out an email that clarified what happened at provincial council, and it went through process and also told you what the provincial councillor was all about. So we're moving on to nominations for provincial councillor.
Can you give two, please? And would you mind marking what Nicole? Well, she was nominated. Because she cannot nominate herself.
Yes, well,
What
okay,
she's
so we'll
saying.
do,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry, just to make sure that that's
Yeah,
represented.
that's
Thank you.
fine. That's right, so you know.
There you go.
Right. We have I can't read. Okay, so we have 3 nominations for provincial council. Ida Campbell, will you let your name stand?
Yes or no?
Bill Snow, will you let your name stand?
And Nicole, that's her name.
And Nicole lets her name stand. So we have 3 nominated for provincial councillor.
Look at Cheryl.
This place is actually pretty good.
Can taste a cucumber too, hey? And I like.
Whatever the ingredients say.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Right. Our new provincial councillor is Ida Campbell. So moving on to the election of alternate for provincial council.
Provincial council. Period.
It's mine.
I'll turn mine off.
Nicole sent them all to.
Oh, I see.
It's
Okay,
going to
got it.
all of us. on
Oh,
all
shoot,
these.
actually, and then I responded, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it,
Sorry
that's
that.
fine.
It's all okay.
Let's just keep it between you and I, so that everyone's phone doesn't buzz. Period. You are down.
I don't know, we're just making sure that Stephen is doing the,
Provincial council.
And our alternate provincial councillor is Nicole Gillis. But we still have to vote. Sorry, there's 2 nominations, so we still have to vote. Sorry, Nicole, I got ahead of myself. So alternate for provincial councillor is nominated as Nicole Gillis, and I know she's accepted the nomination. And the other is Bill Snow. Do you accept the nomination? All right, so now we're voting for the alternate provincial councillor. I got ahead of myself. Keep me honest.
Thank you.
She likes this.
I was kind of taken back when I came in and Angela was chairing the meeting and I was like, what am I missing? And then I'm like, oh, the election.
Nicole, they're still going to everybody.
Did you make it out to the Huskies games?
Yes, loved it.
I hear they were pretty excited.
Oh, my God, that was an awesome game.
And our alternate provincial councillor is Bill Snow. Thank you. All right, We're moving on to the election of BCPC rep, and that would have to be from among the 4 that are not in conflict.
Do we have a reminder?
I'm in conflict, Ida's in conflict, and Bill's in conflict.
Is Nicole not in? Oh, no, okay, that's right, sorry.
She's a contractor, she's not deemed.
I agree. Perception.
Sorry about that, I remember.
That's
that.
okay.
You got really on that.
It's common sense, but nothing about.
Somehow, a contract.
I believe I was opposed.
Should have signed, I gave it to him. Oh, okay.
I like this little jingle, but I must say, wherever they copied it on,
It was me.
is stressing me out.
I'll explain. She gave me a colored copy, and that's what happened with it. All right, nominated for BCPC. I have Madeline. You accept the nomination. I have Nicole,
She
and
accepts.
she accepts the nomination. And I have Thomas.
No.
Thomas has said no, so we're looking now for ballots, and we're choosing between Nicole and Madeline.
A vote, self, and Madeline.
And it's nothing personal against BCPC. I think it's fantastic. I have to take a look at the amount of time that I have. In fairness to everybody who's there.
That's what we need.
I even felt bad as being the alternative and not able to go to that event.
And they don't have the AGM this year, that's in January. Is virtual this year?
Oh, okay, nice.
Well, it is and it isn't, but.
But I'm
I think they're
ahead
just
on
gonna keep it to the bare minimum, is my guess.
I know.
Too, right?
I'll let it stand as an alternative, but as the primary.
Our BCPC rep is Madeline. We're moving on to the election for the alternate BCPC rep. Nominations for alternate BCPC rep. Thomas has declined.
Sorry, just for the primary.
Yeah, for the primary, okay. So, just for the primary, just clarifying.
I know.
Thank you. So are you, no, you're coming, are you coming to Vancouver? Okay.
You're not?
No, I am.
So
No, I've got about a 6 to 7 month hiatus of doing pretty much anything, leaving this area of the province until something gets settled.
Still.
Nothing bad, all good stuff. All good stuff. It's taking care of my son comes before everything else, so.
Good for you.
So nominated for BCPC alternate rep, Thomas?
Yeah.
Your name stand, and Nicole.
She lets her name stand.
She lets her name stand, so.
Pardon me, Nicole has withdrawn her nomination.
Okay. So, as Nicole has withdrawn her nomination, that would mean that Thomas is
Thomas
our
doesn't need to be
alternate BCPC rep.
That was easy.
Thank you. So, at this point in time, I would ask that the ballots be destroyed. Yes, dear.
I'll move that.
Okay, moved by David, seconded by Bill, that the ballots be destroyed. You just missed it on.
Burn them, huh, Angela? Pardon me? Burn them?
I think I'll put them on. Oh, I can shred them. I shred them. Calling the question, that all in favor? All right, ballots will be destroyed. I'm going to, at this point in time, return to item 3.0, which would be in your agenda, school board meeting and delegations. We've diarized this now, so we'll remember to do it in our September meeting. We didn't earlier, but it's just a reminder of the process. So David, there's a sheet here that looks like this. And so for the if you want to put it on for that next one, I should have told you that to begin with, but it's just a reminder of what our process is for delegations.
Okay, thanks.
But she's just in our,
It's in your,
Yeah.
It's governance in the 1003 school board meeting delegations. So it is there. Right. Other duties related to the board, we have audit committee, and Madeline is the chair of our audit committee. Next order of business for that would be, as per policy 1011, would be involvement when we've got tenders back for auditors. So I'll leave it to you two to get together on that. Okay.
For how many years do we?
Usually for 3. And it should be going up on BC bid next week.
Oh, you got that. So the BC bid again. Right. School liaison reps, a couple of years ago, we talked about leaving reps as they were for the first 2 years and then perhaps doing some movement in the third year. So this would be our second year with the schools that we've assigned. I'd like to leave it as it is. I didn't have anybody reach out and say anything. Obviously, in the zones like Zone 4, Area 4, Ida, Madeline are always going to be, and Zone 2, there's always going to be schools that are assigned to. But even with 3 of us in Zone 5, where the bulk of the schools are, we can't cover them all. So trustees step in and cover some of those other ones.
And if I just may add to that one, what I find is interesting, and I think I've seen it more now than in the past, is that when people have an issue or concern, they will actually check out their websites and to find out who their school liaison is and reach out specifically. I've had that a few times now where I realized I was the only one receiving this communication, it's like, oh, that's, obviously they've done their homework, have checked it out. So it is, you are on the website or on their information as their liaison, so.
I learned the hard way that if you don't just say it, I am your liaison, they may not.
Well, it's a reminder. Right. Moving on to trustee engagement and celebrations, we'll start with trustee Campbell from Area 4.
Okay, I've been to 2 of the PAC meetings out of my 3 schools. Taylor, they had to cancel theirs because they don't have very many participants, and there was only 2 that could go, so they didn't have a quorum, so they had to cancel theirs. Belmont was having their carnival this Thursday, November 23rd, and it's a conflict with the band performance as well, so I will not be going to the Bell Donald one. I am going to go to the band. I go to there every year, so I have let Bell Donald know that that's the only reason I'm not attending their carnival. I've been to a few of the strategic planning sessions, and I've really enjoyed them, and everybody has been so engaged. It's so nice to see how engaged they are and how they're just interested in it. It's really good to see. And then I went to the Taylor PAC Christmas market on last Saturday. I think that's all I've been doing.
Oh, trustee Gillis, is she with us?
No.
Vice Chair Lehman.
I went to the symposium in Vancouver. I'll report out on the BCC part of the agenda. Attended the Health and Safety Committee meeting, labor management meeting, as well as a strategic plan. And I have to say too, I was very impressed with how engaged the people that came out to do that didn't come out to chat, they came out to give their input. That's very impressive.
Trustee Scott Moncrief, Area 2.
I was down in Taylor for Remembrance Day. It was an amazing experience. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for letting me go. Chatted with Upper Pine. Everything's good there. 101 is good, and had a great conversation with Presbyterian and Buicks. They're working through the issues there, so it's good.
Trustee Snow, Area 5.
All right. Of course, I've been to visit my schools, and things are going well. Did the leadership meeting with our future leaders there. Nice to meet someone. I'll report on later, but I went to Provincial Council and BCPC. And on that, just keep them busy.
Thank you. Trustee Whitten.
Start off with Remembrance Day celebrations here in Fort St. John. We were able to place the wreath on behalf of the School District 60. It was as always, it's a solemn experience, but it's always important to be there. Had a conversation with the Central PAC, PAC meeting with Bert Bowes, Alwyn Holland. Their PAC has been struggling for quite a while to maintain a solid PAC, and I heard a lot of concerns about that. I haven't followed up since the last time I had a discussion with them, but yeah.
All right, my turn then. So I've been involved in the strategic planning sessions, and they have been positive, echoing that comment from others. I attended an equity scan meeting where we're working through the data from the process undertaken last year with an eye to setting goals. The Indigenous Education Council is planning for a What We Heard event to be done so they can report back on the information that came. And once that date's been set, I will circulate it to all trustees. I attended the NPA meeting on the board's behalf. I'm continuing to participate in the community advisory group with Northern Health. Attended a recent labor management meeting. I have kept in touch with my school PACs, but timing of meetings hasn't been working for me. I got to officiate an elementary volleyball game. I appreciated the changed triple ball plays. It means improve skill development and participation for the kids. At this time, I would like to extend a special thank you to our staff and acknowledge the work done in regards to Remembrance Day ceremonies. I attended Valdano's ceremony with my 85-year-old mother. She's raised 5 children, is a grandmother to 11, and has 13 great-grandchildren. I share this information because she is an expert on Remembrance Day ceremonies, having attended many to watch her family. She was watching her great-granddaughter perform at Valdano. My mother found the ceremony very well done. She was impressed by the demeanor of the students, the variety of the activities that formed part of the ceremony, the participation of a veteran from Afghanistan, and the activities. From looking at posted information about the ceremonies that took place at other schools, I know the level of care and preparation is evident around the district. Mrs. Merrill, a Valdano teacher, wrote a song called "This is a Poppy" that her class performed, and I shared the words with you because it shows the depth of teaching and understanding staff are working to build around it. I also attended Hudson's Hope Community Remembrance Day ceremony on behalf of the board. I shared the honor of laying the wreath with a grade 11 student. Vina moved to Hudson Hope from Indonesia 6 years ago. This was the first community ceremony that she had attended. After the ceremony, there was a tea where student artwork said thank you to the soldiers. That was a very nice touch. The other thing is, from having started my career in Hudson Hope and knowing the veterans in the community, there was one veteran left to sit on the chair. So, yeah. Thank you very much. The words to the Poppy song are there, and it goes, I'm not singing to you. You want to sing it in your own head, it's To You Are My Sunshine, but it's got all elements in it.
So being first, I always forget things. So I was at the equity scan as well. I was at 2 of those meetings. And I also forgot that in Taylor, they do no soldier left behind, and they paint stones and put them on the headstones. And that was well attended as volunteer.
I'm going to pipe in on this one too, because I attended the one in Cecil Lake that I wasn't quite aware of that they are doing. It's a new and what impressed me, it was 30, 40 people probably gathering, but out of those, 5 spoke who were directly either grandfather, uncle, like a lot of them that had close ties to people. Father, I was surprised a small community like that, the percentage.
We stole Stephen's thunder for later, but that's...
No, not at all. There's lots of good stuff.
So, moving on to agenda item number 6. Minutes of the regular board meeting of October the 16th, which are pages 6 to 13 in the package.
Just something to throw out there while everybody's taking a look. Even the veterans were posting on it. I had several friends that are veterans that were posting on the amazing experience, and they appreciated what the school district did.
Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Thomas, seconded by Bill. There is an error that will be corrected if you look at page 13 in your package. We need to number properly, and we missed the 1, so it's 125, 126, 127, and that will be fixed in regards to motions. Calling the question then, all in favor? Look at business arising. As part of a report tonight, Secretary Treasurer will go over 1701 data. some of those answers, the answers in there. Secretary Treasurer is also informed you a little bit about what's going on in Hudson Hope for childcare. I did reach out to the mayor to discuss the contents of her letter, and they were bang on with her capital project submission. We'll have to get a copy date set up. Action item, the superintendent will continue to follow up on what we are doing in the area of accessibility. It's a 3-year process. It may be an area that we want to keep an eye on for advocacy. And I think I mentioned this, Stephen, but if I didn't, I am now. We wondered about the concept of having a trustee sit on that committee because it does have policy implications down the road on what we heard at NIB, so.
Certainly, and I think when I presented it, it's open to put your name forward, especially if you have, you yourself or have a child in the system that has a disability, because there are certain rules around the composition of that committee.
Okay. All right, that is the business arising. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 7, approval of excerpts of the regular board meeting of September the 18th, which is page 14 in your package. Mover, please. Moved by Bill, seconded by David. Any errors or omissions? Calling the question then, all in favor? Announcements and reminders. Leah, can we add the band concert, which is November the 24th, 6 o'clock at the Cultural Center?
The 23rd or the 24th?
It's 23rd.
Oh, sorry, 23rd, yeah. It's the 23rd. Can't read my own writing.
Your band concert?
Yeah. Any other additions, Bill?
The volleyball, I believe it is the 20th, 21st, 22nd.
I don't know. In my Ann Roberts newsletters that I've been getting, he's only got the 20th and the 21st, because I know I got missed today.
Today they told me that when I was there, that was today the girls, tomorrow the grade 6 or mixed in grade 6 teams.
Yeah,
And then Wednesday was the B tournament, which they're
okay.
calling
I
the
didn't know
grade
that we were
4s.
having a B.
That's for the clarification.
And
It
then-
started out as a 2-day thing, so.
Yep. And then the 11th, Christmas MPAA Christmas dinner. That's the Christmas dinner at the Northern Grand, right? Yeah, it just with the meeting part, because normally we go
Well,
to.
they call it their dinner meeting. It's
Okay.
the NPA's December meeting.
Okay. Normally we go to a meeting kind of thing and leave.
Yeah, that won't be this.
No, I knew the difference, I was
Yeah.
just clarifying.
So that's the 11th?
Yes.
And the one other thing was
We'll talk about it.
the 28th, when I was here with you, Stephen, with the SUPAC meeting.
Yeah.
You had brought up that you were gonna try to get as many of us at that meeting, I thought you said?
Well, as many of them. For strategic planning on
The 28th.
the 28th with Deepak, yes,
Yeah.
that's at 11:30, so any and all trustees are welcome. Yeah. Our chair, Ellen Gilbert, will be facilitating the session.
She's never gonna live it down.
And please note that that's in the DDC, which is next door.
Is that good, Leah? Got it all? Nothing else? All right. Moving on then to the superintendent's report, and we'll start with his HR report.
And so, as noted, there's an activity report there for HR. That's item number one. Item number one under education is the online superintendent's report, which is obviously now. First of all, before we get into the elements of the framework components, just a reminder to the public of the board's renewal of its strategic plan. And if you click on the link, it will take you to the survey. The chair had asked about the uptake so far on the survey numbers, and we were both pleased to hear back that we were at approximately 373 respondents, which is very good uptake for an online survey. And so we'll continue to promote that, as well as the public house, and more on that to come. So into our framework, under intellectual development, of course, the timing right now is around report cards and the proficiency scale for K-9, which is emerging, developing, proficient, and extended. We'll see what kind of feedback we get over the next few weeks. But right now, that information and this type of learning update, it's called, is going out as we speak to all of our parents. This is a beautiful project, which is also, I put it under intellectual because art is also part of our intellectual development, and along with numeracy and literacy. And this was an amazing project led by Kim Mance at the high school, where they entered into a project to make portraits of specific students. In this case, they were in Cameroon, and they're doing another one this year for children, younger children in Colombia. In essence, the art class uses a certain medium to draw or to paint the actual portrait of the student. So they have a picture of the student, then they draw a portrait of them. And on the back of that portrait, they put their own little picture and name along with a hand imprint that they outline so that they can touch the hand that created the art. And if you look at the video, or if you already have, you'll just see how excited the kids were to receive those art projects. They had to wait a year because they were in conflict because of the war. And so it's a neat project that continues this year. And by the way, public or trustees, they are looking for people to help sponsor. It's a $20 per student fee in terms of having those pieces of art delivered to the kids.
And how many kids altogether are they looking for as Skyline?
27.
27 kids.
Yeah. Under human and social development, as mentioned, there are a number of Remembrance Day ceremonies. I went to the one at Mont Murray, and there was a beautiful ceremony there, and some great links here to the overall presentation, as well as a great testimonial video from younger students, grade 1, I believe, around what do you think about when you see a poppy. And so those are some delightful comments from our grade 1 students at Mont Murray School. As well as that, we have ongoing workshops around supporting anxious students through the EASE, which stands for Everyday Anxiety Strategies for Educators and Working with Their Students. Under careers and skill development, Jeff Mayer, along with, of course, working with Brian Campbell, our district principal for careers, put together just a reminder of all of the different career programs that are available specifically through our high school. And there is a lot of information to go through here. You will, of course, you've had and will have a presentation by Mr. Campbell this year, but this is just a way for you to go back and have a look at all of the different things that are available to our students. Under operations and HR, there's been recently this initiative around a staff art hub. And so along with the PRNTA social justice rep and a district counselor, they're getting together to offer these staff art hub evenings. The next one is November 29th here in the board office, and so that's kind of fun for people who want that. Also under human resources development, Trustee Snow mentioned the Leadership Academy, which we kicked off a couple of weeks ago, and we have a cohort of 15 candidates who apply to be in this academy, and these are the topics that myself and senior staff, along with other principals and vice principals, will be facilitating over the next few months. Just as an example of the first evening, we did introductions, and then we looked into a book, Rushworth Kidder, called Ethics, and looked at things like the right versus right dilemma, and how it's difficult to make decisions because they're both right, but it's about what is the interests of the community, the students, and so these are hard decisions to make sometimes. Pleased to announce that Nancy Birchall has been hired as the ST63 program coordinator. She was able to attend the provincial meeting last Wednesday, and so she's made some connections there. We've already met with our principals and vice principals who have access to the funds for food as well as staffing. And Nancy Birchall this year will be working with them to bring up, support those schools that don't already have a robust meals program or breakfast program or food program going, and aiming eventually towards as much efficiency and effectiveness in terms of even the logistics of all the programs, deliveries, purchasing, local opportunities. And so we have someone on board to do that now. Under Truth and Reconciliation, you've mentioned this evening around the equity in action, so just some pictures of the recent meetings on that and the work that they're doing. And we've been going through that data here recently as well. Some celebrations here under Take 3. Once again, Dr. Kearney seems to have this interest each year in the haunted house, and so they put that on again and have lots of fun doing that. You also heard briefly, I believe, from Keith McGilvery about the low vision clinic that was offered at the upstairs in the arena, and that was a real celebration just to see the number of experts that were here for half a dozen kids, and they got a full day's treatment and support throughout the day. And they'll be back in 2 years. And finally, you mentioned, I think it was David, around the no stone left alone. And so they really do a great job of tracking down these sites at the Taylor Cemetery and leave these stones painted as poppies in remembrance of the local veterans. That is my online report. Item number 2 under education is around community coaches. I'll be looking for a motion to pass those. And item number 3 is out of district field trips, including a request to approve an international trip organized by the Presbyterian Secondary Group under Ms. Dimitruk. And she's following all the criteria. Mr. Campbell has indicated that those criteria are being followed, and they're working through the document that I shared with trustees last year in terms of the pretty extensive checklist around the safety, the planning, the links to the curriculum. And so there's a bit of a snapshot of the information for trustees tonight. And that's my report.
Thank you. So now we'll go through Stephen's report item by item, starting with the HR summary report. Any questions or comments there? Okay, moving on to the electronic report.
I have something I'd like to say on that one. My son got his report card today, and it was really nice to get that page on the back. That kind of explained what was going on in it, because they don't look very different from what I've seen in the past. I mean, they look almost identical. It's a pretty standard system, but it's nice to have. If I need to, I can go back in and see that, and my wife, my other half, appreciated it as well.
Good to hear. Thanks for that.
Video, if you need a release, either a happy release or happy tears, the video will do it for you on that one. So keep that in mind. Remember that one there. And the grade 1s from Lombard, their stuff was really cute too.
Just about the ease thing there.
Yes.
It's just a happy day, I guess. I just love that we're working with the parents too, who could be struggling through something like that, having anxiety, your children. So nice that they have those supports that are available to them.
Yeah, no, and trustees have been supporting that, and we're trying to make sure that is accessible as well.
So my comment on a lot of the stuff that was in the work experience report is some of those programs, it would be nice to be able to have a student come and speak to us a little bit about their experience in it. I'm involved with a young lady that is doing, I think it's using trades. She's at Northern Lights College for this first semester. So I get a weekly update on what's going on for her and what she's liking about it. But when it came to, there was something in there where they had Urban Matters and they were dealing with professionals. There wasn't a teacher's professional. We had ECE, but it would be nice to make sure that we include teaching in that as well.
For sure.
I actually had the opportunity to see that presented from Simon at the Petroleum Association, and did it justice 100%.
And I made a note here, but if you can remind me too, when we have Mr. Campbell present to the trustees in terms of either then or at a different time, having a student present on one of the, a couple of students present on the programs.
Art Hub for staff. Thank you, Bill, for going and welcoming our potential new leaders. So on the food program coordinator, is that an exempt position?
Yes.
Okay.
And is that funded through the new?
And where is she working at it? Okay. She does it, okay. The other thing, and it might not be something you can answer now, but when they brought that program in, there was a lot of discussion of using BC produce and connections and support for our farmers. I haven't heard as much about that now. Is that still a focus, or is that something that falls within her umbrella to try and go out and do?
It is something we're trying to source. It does fall under her umbrella. She is aware of it. We've spoken to her and tried to give her some ideas. It's a bit more difficult up here than it is down south, but she's up for the challenge, so.
It's definitely a high level, criteria at this point, but it is something, and with her network of other coordinators in BC, I think they're trying to develop not only what's out there, but a process in terms of how to connect and how to bring it in a safe way and in an economic way.
Even economic and storage, because the time to do some bulk buying of produce like your root vegetables and things is September, October. And there's lots of opportunity then, but not necessarily beyond that.
And if I can also just add that across the district, we have some very robust meals program all the way down to schools who don't have much, but maybe not as much need. So our leadership group want to move forward with a diverse set of programs and possibilities in each of our schools, and that's what we're supporting. It will not be one size fits all across the district.
That's the haunted house issue. Questions? Right, in your agenda package, you have information related to community coaches. You'll note that some approvals had to be given on an emergency basis from Stephen because events happened or change. So can I please have someone make the motion that the Board of Education accept the community coaches as presented? Moved by Bill, seconded by Madeline. On the question, all in favor? Any discussion related to what you just approved? What you saw? Was nice to see Hudson Hope with the team traveling a little bit. And just because I said Hudson Hope, I'm going to share what Nicole just texted. She says that please let the others know I just got called again. The waiting room is full and the ambulance is on its way in. I may not be online for quite some time. Okay. Moving on to item number 3, that's part of Stephen's report.
Sorry if I missed this. Was that motion carried?
Sorry, I forgot to call the
I
question.
don't know.
Yeah, no, I did call the question.
I missed it.
It's okay, not a problem. We did call the question. I did it right. Woo-hoo! Moving on to item number 3, out of district field trips. Can I have a motion that the Board of Education accept the out of district field trips as presented? Moved by Ida, seconded by David. Like the question? Favor? Now discussion.
Well, we should have probably discussed before voting, but I think we're good. I just had a question on that one.
Okay.
How's the buy-in for the field trip for Presbyterian?
That's, what a trip for that.
Yeah, it's good. And as you'll notice in the report here, it's course-based.
Yes.
As opposed to here's where we want to go and who can afford to go. And so fortunately, we kind of caught this in time when they were talking about it last year. And so she's been working with Mr. Campbell ever since, and it's open to, and all students are planning on bringing. Some of them may graduate as some of the grade 12 students, so they're just figuring out some of the insurance pieces as far as continuing to have them registered or making sure they're covered under SPP or whatever insurance needs to happen there for them.
My questions too. Thomas?
So I see on SS11 there, it says understanding diversity and complexity in cultural, political, economic, social, and environmental factors. They will be fundraising on an ongoing basis throughout the year where children will have the ability to raise their own money to go. So kids who can't.
Yeah. We actually have some support available centrally to support some of those kids as well, because part of this whole new approach is that it does need to be available to and possible for all of the kids.
Fantastic.
Yeah, every single one.
And if every kid decided to go, how many would that be?
I don't know of the exact number. I can get back to you on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just a mind blower concept, but yeah.
It's good.
The city, right?
Yeah.
That's a cultural shock.
Yeah, not only is it a bit of a unique ask for that school, but they're kind of the first ones to go through the fulsome process now around international.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Have their eyes open.
I'm just wishing them luck on the bus in and out trip, trying to, how many ever kids they have to try to keep them in one spot. But I'm sure they'll figure that out.
They're a unique situation because of them, they could be graduated.
Yeah, so like I say,
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're working through that, right? Because they do mostly graduate in January. Another reason to make sure they're following all the processes, to make sure they're not caught by surprise.
We have the discussion after we call.
It's okay, no worries.
Moving on to the secretary treasurer's.
Do you need the overhead or no?
Thank you. So my report entails a financial update to October 31st, 2023, an enrollment update, which I have in the form of a handout. Michelle, I think there's one because I already have it. And then I did email everybody about the Hudson Hope Childcare, but I can definitely speak to it in the operations as well. And then just the HR support staff summary. And that is my report.
I have a mover and a seconder for Angela's report. Moved by Madeline, seconded by Thomas. Now discussion. So we'll start with the financial update to October 31st, which is an attachment.
Yeah, you can see that we are in a deficit up to the end of October. This is consistent for the startup of the year. I went back and looked at last October because whenever you see a negative, it jars you even though you should be prepared for it. So 1.1 million. And there's just a little bit of an explanation. We don't receive our full kind of funding based on what we submit in the previous February. We received 7.4 million in October versus 4.1 in September. So they don't, so moving forward, those numbers should be looking better and better, so.
So when you're saying the ministry grants, they're not, that is kind of the going
Yeah.
are usually not received by now anyways.
No, we received the first kind of full one based on our projections so we received the first amount in October for the full, like for 7.4 million, and then so we were 3.3 shy there for September, even though we still have basically the same wages and expenses. So I did look, I think we were 1.4 last October, so I'm comfortable with that.
I've got a question. I don't know if it fits within this, but so with the expenses of everything across the world going up, obviously we've taken account for that in here. Has there been a lot more kids taking advantage of the food allocations, and has that come up quite a bit compared to this time last year?
I can answer that one. As far as what we've seen is an increase in our schools that we know there are bigger populations of families in need. At the same time, we've seen some of our other school communities who have not seen their need increase. And so it was quite interesting to try and figure out how to allocate the food fund. And so we met with the principals and vice principals to get the most recent information of how many more kids in their communities are needing the support. And also just to clarify, whereas the affordability fund pushed a fair bit of resources out to the community, this is for in-school meal is the primary focus of the fund, which actually the administrators appreciate that because they can just focus on what they're trying to do in the school. Has the need grown? In some of our schools, yes. In others, it has not changed. Malcolm Cran has gone up. Montgomery has gone up. Alvin Holland has gone up. Robert Ogilvie has gone up.
At labor management meeting, the concept was made that we seem to have a higher number of support staff on disability. We have in here substitutes for TOCs. Where do the
Sorry, that's just should be substitutes.
Okay, so
casual as well as
casual, so that includes
Sorry,
where they are, because I was looking to try and, because we heard it was up so much, I was thinking it would need to be up somewhere on here too.
The miscellaneous revenue? Is that, I mean, if I look at 12 months, so do we have a different bulk time on that one to match up the budget?
No, that's definitely going to get adjusted on the amended budget. It's going to come down.
Do you know why?
The miscellaneous just varies so greatly by year to year. Like we could, fingers crossed, it could be at 500, but I don't think so. So I can get back to you on what generally goes in there, but it's the odd donation, it's things that like reimbursements for things, like we wouldn't offset them to expenses, we would put them into the miscellaneous.
Right. Okay, that includes miscellaneous, that come into the district, okay. Yeah, because the rest there, the daycare, rental, teacher, all that kind of would be, you would think is kind of set, but then that top line, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, we definitely have to shot for the stars on that one, I think, so.
Looking at the enrollment update.
Yeah, so we, if we start kind of in the variance from the projection. So the 2023-24 projection was done in February of 2023. Then we have I just gave some comparative figures. So the actual enrollment for 22-23, and this is FTE based, the top is 5,974 compared to this year, which is 5,815. So we're seeing a decrease from what we projected to the FTE that actually showed up in schools of 195,000. 195. Sorry, I don't need to make it worse. 195.
Thank you.
I was just seeing if anyone was listening. No one looked
How'd I do?
shocked. You did good, David. You did good. So overall, the FTE from our projection to what we actually have in buildings for funding is down 197.6. Now, a few reasons for that is it is a projection. We do the best we can. I think we were hoping for some more COVID recoveries for the 23-24 year. We didn't get them, I guess, or we again shot for the stars and we didn't get there. And then there was also an FTE versus, you can see the head count is actually down slightly, 15 in our brick and mortar schools. Online learning, we're up 110, which translates for online learning, there's a lot of people, but the actual FTE increase from our projection was 19.3. So there's a few reasons for that. Is that we lost a couple of programs after our audit, and then those were FTE based. So that's where we landed. We didn't have the information when we did the projections, and this year we will make sure we're aligned more closely. And maybe a bit more conservatively projecting this year, so. Any questions on, sorry, that's not my question.
Any other questions for Angela on this?
One thing that I found interesting, and you speak on this a little bit, is the English language learners. We have an influx of English ELL students, quite a significant one.
Yeah, I can't tell you what the reasoning is behind that, but I can get back to you on that one.
Not that it's a bad thing.
No, it's a good thing, yeah.
All right. HR report now. Any questions related to the HR report? Do you want to, just because it was in the, it was under old business?
So we are opening, there is a need for childcare in Hudson Hope, and we can't really do anything about we can speak to the school age kids. So we're opening in the Strong Start room. It's going to be a shared space for before and after school care. I'm not sure when it's starting. There's still some communication happening between the YMCA, who will be running the program, and the District of Hudson Hope, and then we foresee it occurring in the next couple of weeks. I think the license is in place. It's just they're just dealing amongst themselves to figure out what's going on.
How are you finding the child care licensing time? Because doing reading, it seems to be an issue for getting going. And I had a question. Some districts are looking at it as an advocacy item.
I can definitely get feedback from Tracy and the Y on that.
It may be that their same problem isn't province-wide, or it is province-wide.
Yeah, and I think they're also experiencing new ways of, like, they definitely don't like shared space. They don't want two licenses to be in the shared space, in the same space, but that's what we're doing here with the Strong Start, as well as before and after school care. So they're coming along. So.
And thank you for the stuff that you had sent out. We did appreciate it.
So if YMCA is running it,
Is that on a year-to-year base, or do you have to sign a contract for just 1 year?
We're just going to do we're doing 1 year because we're not sure where the childcare, what's up and coming in the future. It might, I believe we're trying to assess the needs in the community and see, because it's kind of being piecemealed out in different locations, and we just need, we're trying to get an assessment from the district there to see where we land and where we need to go. It's interesting when you open one of these facilities, you need to, you can't just open it and then not run it. It has to run for, depending on the size of it and how much funding you get, between 10 to 15 years. So that's a long commitment. And if we don't have a third party to run it, we're running it. So lots of things to think about.
Okay. Calling the question then on Angela's report. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to item number 10 on our agenda, which is approval of the minutes of the Budget Committee of the whole meeting of November the 6th, which is page 17 and 18 in your agenda package. Please get a mover and a seconder. Moved by Thomas, seconded by Madeline. Any business arising from that, but I'm calling the question. All in favor? Policy Committee, attachments in the package. Was there any feedback from the field on either of these?
No.
Okay. So policy 4035, Public Interest Disclosure Act, was initially moved by Madeline, and out there for a month, now looking for a seconder, seconded by Ida. Calling the question. Now that policy 4035, Public Interest Disclosure Act, be adopted, all in favor? Teacher Professional Development Committee. I think Michelle was quite happy to see this one. Was it moved by Bill? Can I have a seconder, please? Seconded by David. All right. No feedback from the public, so motion's made that policy 4028, teaching professional development, be adopted. Calling the question now. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to 11.0, other reports. BCSDA Trustee Gillis, just a reminder that the next virtual session is January the 11th from 5 to 7, and that's financial and resource management. You are reminded that all of these sections are archived and you can go back and look at them at your leisure. In your agenda, I included a report related to the Advocacy Day. And what I did was, that's new information for you, I summarized what Stephen and I have talked about in conversation in preparation for going under the key areas that BCSTA was looking at. I don't have every recruitment and retention strategy down because a lot of them are spoken to in the document, but this just keeps you informed as to what was going on under all of those different things. Any questions? Provincial Council report, Trustee Snow.
Alrighty. I put together some notes here. At Provincial Council, one of the things we had was a presentation on the new recording, which went really good. And he explained it really nice to us. There was also a presentation from ATPC, and they were asking what each district did. Okay, and I brought up the sashes we had at graduation. And one of the ladies there was actually the lady that boxed them up, sent them up to us. Okay, and saying that they were very impressed. Wouldn't remember being impressed when they boxed them. And it was nice to talk to somebody. We had a mental health motion carried by 93%, pay equity motion carried, and there was a lot of talk there regarding SOGI and safety and on some of the unsafe situations some of the boys were having and experiencing. And those were some of the big topics we were having. We had a lot of talk. We had a data walk and went right through it. We talked a bunch about autism. They threw some numbers at us, they explained them, but it was 10.7% a year, they're saying, increase. We looked at some assessment results, some grad literacy numeracy results, some student learning surveys, some completion rates. The next provincial council will be by Zoom in February. There was only about 60 of us for trustees there. Okay, so it made it quite interesting that we were very, like there was like 5 of us at a table kind of thing, and they encouraged a lot of us. We were talking a lot amongst us, and it was just some of the stuff I learned from the groups I was with too were quite interesting, and made me feel even more and more comfortable about the group that we had here. Right? Because I heard some stories about, one, for example, a person said that they didn't feel welcome walking into the board office if there wasn't a meeting. And they were a 3rd-term trustee. I talked to another group that one of the party groups, all 7 belong to the same party. Okay, 7 trustees all belong to the same party, and that party has to be affiliated with one of the provincial government parties. Okay, and you don't speak out against that party, and you have to be a member of that party. So there was a lot of just the freedoms that we have here, and the way we get along was really nice to hear. Okay. And people were really, like when I brought stuff up, they were keen to know what stuff we were doing. I think that might be the last one I have. Yeah. So it was nice, like I said, a smaller group, very interactive, and very, it was good. We had to switch locations days before the meeting, because there was a work stoppage, and then it was cured, but by the time it was cured, everything was, so we switched, stayed where we were kind of thing. But I mean, other than that, it went smooth, it was good.
Any questions for Bill? Thank you very much for going. Any information back? Moving on then to BCPC reports. Start with Vice Chair Lehman. Closing the report out.
So the topic was on employee well-being. Remember, that's coming from the BCPC side, so the legalistic aspect of it. And it was interesting. There was some overlapping sessions on duty to accommodate, just kind of practical tips to address burnout and changes to work locations. Due to feedback, they had 2 trustee sessions that is new for the symposium, because usually trustees were just part of the herd. Now they actually, and one was more a bit of an informative, and I would suggest go to the portal. It's no longer the hub, it's the BCSDA portal. They presented. They had they showed lots of resources. One, for example, they came for public engagement at board meetings. So they just it was an informative, the second session. It was interesting for me to attend because we're going to be part of the panel at the BCSDA. So we're going to see the format that it was run at. And I felt it was, they basically facilitated questions, and it was interesting. It said it was not black and white. We're going to work in the gray zone. I'm like, oh, because the first question was, should trustees be involved in bargaining? I thought that was definitely not a definitive answer. There was quite divided. I think the BCPC end of think they should not be involved in bargaining. And others said they should be part of the table because secondhand information is always a little bit colored. It is.
We do have people that say
Yeah.
bargaining.
We're talking local bargaining. We're not talking provincial, just local. Like I was, for example, last year I was involved in the teacher and then in the QP as an observer. Like
And it was
I'm not the speaker. I'm sitting there just getting it firsthand.
Yeah, that's right. That's okay. I can see that.
So they said no to that. But again, it wasn't black and white. It wasn't the mandate. It was just interesting. And see, David, that's how it was. Table discussion was created. It was quite It was. So that was one. The conflict of interest was another one. And I'm just going to throw that out there because, of course, it was the big one that three of us had to declare tonight. But then at the table itself, little things came up. So what do you do if you have a child in band and the question comes up, do we want to support band? Should you recuse yourself?
Yeah.
Yes. So there's different aspects of this whole conflict, not just the one big one. And then handling complaints from the public about staff. How do you do that? So those were just different table discussions. One was employee conduct in social media. Just as a reminder, the laws haven't changed really, but society has. But the laws have pretty much remained the way they have. And one, I'm going to throw that out as interesting for, I don't know if it's a Prodi, but the neurodiversity at work. The speaker there is a very strong speaker, clear. And I thought, wow, the numbers that we're seeing, you just said, he said what, 10%?
10.7.
Increase. He
Per
threw
year.
number out 1 in 30. We're going to see 1 in 30. So that I think that it's going to be important to understand. And he was so good, and it's like, oh, I really learned a lot from that. And then an attachment on the ministry recruitment update on the workforce. There's an attachment in your package that kind of shows where they're at. They will meet again. They got feedback and they're going to meet and work more on that.
Bill, what would you like to add as
Sorry,
a
Bill.
report to that?
She covered a lot of it. When we broke out with the trustees, it was like this way for pretty well all the questions. Right? We sat at two different tables, meant to, and I sat at a table, and I think there was 4 or 5 boards. We were the largest, okay? And just worked out that way, but it was nice because, I just got to mission, Comox, and I'm trying to remember the others, but they were a little smaller than us, okay? But we were sharing some of the same situations too, but like I said, everything was just here or here. There was very few people that were going, kind of thing. Myself, to be honest, I've been to probably 4 or 5 of these, and I got a lot more of the trustee part sessions kind of thing. The rest of it for me was this time It was more, when I seen that they would be talking about recruitment and stuff, that's what really sparked my interest to going. And the recruitment and stuff was a lot of it like business, as in like lawyers and stuff talking about recruiting. Right? But it was worth going. Right? But like I said, a lot of what I got out of it was the sharing part. It was good.
All right, thank you very much. BCPC Ball Update number 2. Madeline sent it out. I always forward Angela the question about where do we stand in our district when they were looking at support staff, and there was kind of a process. And I just wondered what stage we were at.
I left it on my desk.
That's the email that I forwarded.
It wasn't I'll find it in my file.
So this is in regards to the job evaluation. So
Yes,
they've finished, we finished our process. We had to review all of our job descriptions, and then we submitted it to BCPC. And then we have internally done a pay equity assessment. So jumped a little ahead maybe of what's happening provincially. They're not quite there, but I think they've gathered all the data from the district. We were the second intake of job evaluations. We were the second intake, but they've completed everything, and now they're working on the pay equity. So the goal is to ensure that if you are a mechanic here in School District 60 or School District 42, like there's a reasonable pay and duty expectation for those positions on the support side.
Our carpenters, joiners, facilities staff, because of how things first started, they were behind some of the districts down south. Will this process bring them in alignment with districts down south?
That's the goal. That's the goal, is that the districts will be aligned. Again, they want to make sure, because there could be a wage differential because there's different expectations or qualifications required. So they're trying to make sure that if you're speaking to a carpenter down in a different, like a southern district versus ours, that the expectations and the job descriptions are the same, and then the pay will reflect that. I think they are hoping to get as close to each other as they can. That's the next step. So they reviewed the job descriptions, and now we're off to the pay.
Clarifying where we're at for me. Board Chair, Pro-D Committee. Strategic planning is our Pro-D. I don't have anything under correspondence. Unfinished business is strategic planning. Stephen did hear back from some of the schools in the outlying areas, and do you want to speak to?
Certainly. We've already started to get some responses back from, we were wanting to make sure as a planning committee that we were providing as much in-person access to some strategic planning in our rural communities, and trying to find ways to do that. And so far, working with the principals and vice principals, we're lining up some sessions during their PAC meetings. So I'm collecting a schedule right now, and I already have some. And they're really hoping, really asking that when we produce this schedule, that even if it's a trustee or a couple of trustees could attend that meeting, we would anticipate a special activity that we would advertise to their community as well as to any of the organizations that exist within that community to come and participate in that with a bit of an abridged session in terms of those key discussion questions that they would look at and provide feedback on, and facilitated by yourselves and with the school leaders. So that schedule's on its way. I believe we mentioned, Helen, that we've got a robust number of responses to the survey, and there are a number of workshops coming up that you may want to speak to.
We've got the Indigenous Education Council coming up. We have the pack and Sue pack. And then we have the open house, and thanks to Leah, she's hoping our vests are all going to be ready, but we're hoping we can have as many aces there on the 30th as we can. Family-friendly, fun event,
Yes.
so we'll put you to work some way.
And then we have the 24th, we have the bus drivers.
And early learning and custodians, yeah, and exempt, you bet.
And at both of my PAC meetings, we talked about the open house, and they were so excited that the whole family could come.
Terrific.
Yeah, both of them had quite a few in attendance in both those PAC meetings, and they were so excited that they could do it as a family.
Different. All right. We don't have anything under new business. So, Michelle, it's your turn.
I'm still making notes. Congratulations to all the elected board officials. Another great year. Something that I was looking at your announcements and reminders. There is an ACOT grad on December 6th. I saw your name, Stephen, that's why.
Yeah.
It's at 5 p.m. at the Northern Grand. And, sorry?
December.
December 6th. Yeah, sorry, Leah. 5 p.m. at the Grand. And I know the president from Peace for Herself will be there as well. I think we've got some students that are from there. I also want to thank you for updating Board Policy 4028. So even though nobody from the public or you sent it out, I did connect with Jessica. She's our PRT Pro-D chair. And it's Jessica from Preston, Jessica Dimitrick. And she is in agreement with the changes and the updates. So thank you for that. I really, really appreciate it. One other question I do have, and it's about the strategic planning. I can't make the November 30th. Would I be able to attend the December 4th, the local governments one? Does that make sense?
I don't see why not.
Is it okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna defer to the
chair?
board on that. As staff, I don't really see an issue with that.
I don't see an issue with it. We're looking at doing a little bit different flavor at that one.
Right.
It's not going to be the full World Cafe.
Okay.
Because we think we're dealing with a little bit different audience. The World Cafe one, the next World Cafe one would be the one on the 24th. That Wade and Jared are facilitating.
November 24th?
Yeah, so, and thanks for, Helen, and so the sort of nature of the meeting with the local governments is more also of a mingler with local governments. So there is one on the 24th that you'd be welcome to attend as well, at 9. And,
Okay, I see, that's fine.
right? And
Yeah, I can't make that one either, I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm just,
CPAC, we're going to do a full World Cafe too.
Yeah, that's right too. I mean, that'll be for the soup pack.
just I've been missing all of them, and so.
Yeah.
And I was working on the survey that is sent out, and then I'm like, I stopped it because I was like, I just couldn't finish it. I don't know why. Maybe I'll try it again, but I just felt as local president, like, how do I answer some of the things that are asked? So I don't know. I don't know how to help or to have input with this. Is all.
Yeah, we're seeing good uptake on the survey, I think, as far as
that's what I
members
heard.
participating. And I won't speak for the board. One thing you could ask is to submit a specific local PRNTA flavor or response to the questions. The board would be open
Okay.
to taking that rather than an anonymous survey.
Right.
If the PRNTA would like
Yeah.
to submit,
report
here's
back.
our perspective and responses to these questions, I'm sure that would be received.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that way you don't have to worry about trying to make one of the sessions and
Okay.
that's up to you.
And if you want to discuss anything, I mean, basically, at the World Cafe, the questions are there, there's discussion at the table, people are putting sticky notes up. It's a process that you're very familiar with.
Yeah.
You may want to sit with your executive and do a submission.
Okay. That's actually good. And I read whatever was in online about the strategic plan and the questions and whatnot.
I can forward you the discussion and questions so you have that too.
Really brilliant. Thank you. Okay, that's all that I have. I just was like, I don't know how to participate. Oh.
No.
Thank you so much.
Right, and we don't have anybody from CT here or DPAC. We do not have any questions from the press and public, obviously, because we don't have anybody here. So could I please get a motion, a mover and a seconder to suspend our regular meeting and move into in-camera, moved by Bill, seconded by Thomas. Calling the question, all in favor? Leah, please stop the recording. Okay, and can we please have a motion that the in-camera motions are brought forward for implementation? Moved by Thomas, seconded by Bill. All in favor? Carried.
Can I interrupt before we adjourn? Leah and I we can't figure out who did the motion for Stephen's regular board superintendent report. Our apologies. And did you write it down?
Yeah, I might have.
Okay.
It's not a motion to accept it again.
Yeah, that's what we want to do before.
I'm not coming. No, I won't be able to go to either one of the first.
Oh, okay, so I won't add your names. Oh.
Well, I just thought, so he knows that he can't, that I'm not
Oh,
going.
yeah, no, it's just based on who can
Okay.
come.
So, Stephen, am I on there?
You just check. All right, we're just gonna pick two names.
Yeah, that's fine, don't worry about it. You're not-
Sorry.
That's fine, just pick two names and assign it, because I know it was done.
Yeah, mine.
David and Bill?
Sure. Sounds good.
Okay.
Sorry, everybody.
All right, now I think we're ready to adjourn. And I have a move by Bill, seconded by David. All in favor of adjourning at 8:16? Okay.